Uvaženi gledalci, želim vam dobro veče. U narednih 30 minuta u okviru specijalne emisije govorit ćemo o političkim i ekonomskim dešavanjima u našoj zemlji, a naš večerašnji gost je ambasador Italije u Crnoj Gori, gospodin Vincenzo Del Monaco. Mr. Del Monaco, welcome and thank you for your time.
Dobro večer. Thank you very much to you for your invitation. I'm always very happy to be a guest of Atlas TV.
Thank you. As I already said, we will talk about some political and economic issue in our country. And let's begin from something that we got 2 weeks ago, EU progress report. What do you think about EU progress report? What could have been done better or maybe faster?
Well, as I have already several opportunities to say, I think the progress report is something already belonging to the past. I'm already thinking into what the next progress report will look like, because the previous one, the one we've been through 15 days ago, in my opinion, it provides first a factual snapshot of reality in Montenegro, but more than that, it provides a crucial, a very precious guideline for the future of the reform path of Montenegro. It goes without saying that when we are at the beginning of the negotiations on accession to the European Union, we cannot expect a country to change the backbone of its legal system overnight. It's a process that takes time. It's a process that is supposed to last for some time. But I want to look at the progress report as a sort of impetus to foster reform and to strengthen the political determination of all the political forces in Montenegro to proceed further and deeper in the reform process. You asked me what could have been done better and faster. It's not up to me to judge what the political forces may do or wish to do in your country. I understand there are very difficult reforms which are needed, especially when they touch upon the legal system, rule of law, the well-known chapters 23 and 24. I think it's very complicated because you focused on the tools of the legal system, constitutional reforms, judiciary authorities. Let's see these kinds of reforms as big boxes which need to be filled with laws, bylaws, a generous bunch of provisions to decline the major reforms of the boxes into concrete provisions to be implemented and enforced when necessary. Maybe what I would have expected quicker would have been the election of the Supreme State Prosecutor, but I'm very happy that it took place on the eve of the publication of the progress report, and I'm into results, not into processes. That was a big success. Well done.
But for the first time we heard something about the clause of balance, and why now? What is the reason we didn't heard something about it before, given the fact it's present in documents?
I feel guilty to a certain extent, because if you and the audience haven't heard about the unbalanced clause before the publication of the progress report, it's maybe because we have some weaknesses in our EU communication, in my own personal communication towards Montenegrin public on the issues related to the European Union integration, because unbalanced clause was not invented by the progress report. It exists. It simply means we have to be clear with people. It has a very simple meaning. It's a new approach. So we go further in the negotiation when we are ready to go deeper in negotiation.
But we didn't hear about it in some cases of another country. Why now? Why this time for Montenegro?
Because it is the new approach, and we call it new because for the first time it is applied to Montenegro. We negotiate on the basis of previous experiences, and we realized in the past that certain reforms, especially in the rule of law, are very politically costly, and we cannot expect acceding countries to deliver on this reform the last day, on the eve of their accession. It's a process that, as I said before, requires time. it must take time. It must take the time that is needed. And the new approach establishes that we will negotiate the chapters on the rule of law from day one to the very end, to give you more time to adopt reforms, to implement reform, I would say to digest reforms, because entering the EU is not a sterile exercise, it's not an academic exercise. It is a change of culture, political culture, legal culture, economic culture. It's a positive revolution.
You already mentioned the law of law, better results in the law of law, rule of law, and corruption is something that is expected from Montenegro. The confirmation of the report is in December. Do you accept that some country maybe could raise some new issues by then?
I always prefer to skip speculations, because hypotheses and speculations in foreign policy may give origin to mistakes. There is no reason to go slippery into mistakes. Very frankly, these days we started a discussion in depth within the Council, among the Member States, together with the Commission, on the outcome of the progress reports, on the reforms which, in our opinion, as European Union, are most needed for Montenegro. I think it's a very fruitful discussion which is taking place now in Brussels. Let us wait for the prosecution of the dialogue, of the debate among the Member States, and we will see what the outcome of all this debate will be in December. I have no reasons to believe that there will be obstacles of any kind.
Italy.
I always like to stress one concept, because again we must be clear with the public.
Yeah.
The negotiation is done in Podgorica. It's not done in Brussels. It depends on your speed,
yeah,
not on our speed. The door of the European Union is open, otherwise we wouldn't have started the negotiations in Montenegro.
Yeah. Give us some advices to help us only.
Reform, reform, reform.
Italy was doing a lot in helping empowering institutional capacity of Montenegro. What more can we expect?
Oh, I think that the relation between Italy and Montenegro looks like, to a certain extent, the progress report, because we did a lot. Honestly, we did a lot. In the last 8 years,
yeah,
many things were achieved. But when I look at the list, my wish list, my to-do list, is so long that I think that we will need decades will not be enough to achieve and to catch all the potentialities of the bilateral relation. It's like in a love affair, it's never ended. And
we hope that will never end, ever.
There is no reason to end it, no reason at all.
We are glad.
And you see, we've multiplied even the bilateral consultations, the exchanges of visit. I accompanied last week Deputy Prime Minister Markovic to Rome, and he received extremely warm and clear messages of openness, of readiness to cooperate from my government, from the Minister of Justice to the Minister of Interior, to the chief of the police forces, from prosecutors. So my country has basically given to Montenegro the keys of its administration. It's up to you to ask what could be more useful and more needed, and let's share the experiences together.
Lately we heard that the problem in building the highway is the entry of Chinese money. Is that correct? What do you think?
To which highway are you referring?
Belgrade Bar.
I'm very happy that there is the presence of China also in Montenegro, also in the Western Balkan region, as we hope to have more Chinese presence in our countries within the European Union. So it's not the Chinese money which poses a problem to us. There is no reason to think that. What we are following closely is the macroeconomic stability of Montenegro, because we would also like to make important projects, and I believe that infrastructures must be a key priority for Montenegro. But as European Union, we follow closely to be sure that there is no macroeconomic imbalance. the fact that China is here and it's a major player, it's only but a positive result.
Situation between government and A2A is a top economic question in our country. What do you think? Can the government and A2A reach the agreement?
I see no reason why they should not reach an agreement. I personally met the president and the CEO of A2A when they paid their first visit to Montenegro a few days ago, and before they had meetings with your government. And they came to Podgorica with an extremely constructive approach, which in my opinion was happy to see it because it wiped out all the speculations I've read in the papers in the last month.
Because of that I ask you that.
Yes, I mean, I may tell you for sure that A2A, as far as I know, they are not looking for replacement or for substitute within EPCG. And there is an ongoing dialogue and negotiation between the government of Montenegro and A2A on the renewal of the contract, which is very well known. And I'm very confident that they may reach an agreement. The common objective of the government of Montenegro and A2A must be one, a profitable EPCG.
So it's not true that they are not satisfied with the relations with our garden, and is it true that they couldn't recover their money?
I'm not aware of any kind of issue concerning money. Obviously, the return on the investment of A2A so far it has not been a great success, and this is why we are focusing on a profitable company. We want EPCG to be a big player on the energy market, but I stress the word market.
Another thing that is also interesting for our public is the process of installing the cable. When do you think that process can begin? Croatia has already given its approval for works on its territory.
I think that I was on the sets of Atlas TV when 1 year ago I said that the works would have started also in Montenegro during the current autumn, and I still think that it will be the case. So I'm very much confident that before the end of autumn we will see the building site operational even on the Montenegrin shore of the Adriatic. But something that has to be well understood is that the works for the underwater cable have already started since quite some time. Just to make an example, the underwater cable, which is the most important part of the investment, even from a financial point of view, it's already under construction from the manufacturing company since at least 1 year. And there are long pieces of this cable which are about to be delivered in a matter of weeks at the beginning of next year. So I understand that we all want to see the first hole being digged on the Montenegrin sands. It will happen very soon, but the project is ongoing. It's not a potential project, it is a reality. And as far as Croatia is concerned, I don't think that that Terna received a definitive answer from the Croatian side. I think that there was a very positive ouverture, and I believe that they are still working into the details to see whether the project of Terna and the ouverture of Croatia have a perfect coincidence, or whether it deserves to be elaborated a bit further.
But we can be optimistic.
For sure.
Yesterday we heard former commissioner of EU, Stefan Füle. He said that EU can allocate $1 billion for the projects in region. Is that enough? What do you think?
I read the statement by former Commissioner Füle, and I salute them because I think it is a very, very important message. As I've said before, infrastructures are very much needed, not only in Montenegro, but the entire Western Balkan region. I would see it as an excellent proof of the European commitment, even on that specific field of infrastructures. But don't forget that the European Union is already providing a generous financial envelope to Montenegro within the framework of the accession negotiation and the association and stabilization agreement. I'm not sure that 1 billion would be enough to build all the needed infrastructures for the Western Balkan regions, but I presume we are talking about co-financing.
Yes, but by your opinion, which projects have priority?
It is up to Montenegrin government and the other governments of this region to decide what their priorities are. I'm interested in fostering the regional cooperation. So whatever kind of infrastructure helps integrating markets, promoting economic prosperity, those are the perfect infrastructures.
Okay, and when we are talking about regional projects, what do you think, which projects have priority to use EU money?
Energy. Energy is by definition something which is broader than, it goes beyond national borders. If we want to feed the underwater cable, we need a regional grid of energy producers. We need bigger transmission systems, highways, railways. Those are the regional projects which, in my view, are essential tools to foster a much better integration of these markets.
And can we accept maybe some new investments from Italy to our country?
We are working very actively on that. Let me remind you that Generali is now a wholly owned company here in Montenegro. There was a new investment by a big Italian company, and I hope that other big investors will look more closely at Montenegro. But investors come where they go, where they find good perspectives of profit and a good functioning of the market.
And now my last question, but that doesn't mean that it's not important. Giro d'Italia. Montenegro expressed its desire to host a part of it on its territory, and has planned to allocate €1 million from budget of 2015. Can you tell us something more about that project?
Well, first of all, I would be extremely happy to see the big start of Giro d'Italia in Montenegro on the 10th anniversary of your independence. It's very symbolic.
Yes.
And I think that it would be an excellent investment for your country, because the little amount of money you should spend if you get awarded Giro is nothing compared to the profit, to the return for Montenegro. Think about tourism. Think about the broadcasting of a very extremely positive and efficient image of your country. The country which is capable of organizing the big start of Giro d'Italia could organize Olympic Games or Formula One race. So it's a matter also of international credibility. I know that there are other very strong competitors. I keep my fingers crossed and I wish you all the best. You
think that our country is ready for that kind of projects? Do we have all the capacity for organize such a big event?
I'm in Montenegro since 1.5 years. And one of the best things I can acknowledge of your country is the proudness and the determination of Montenegrins.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you for these answers and also for your time for the viewers of Atlas Television. It was a great pleasure to be our guest.
Thank you very much to you, because I appreciate very much journalism, especially when it is extremely professional. And thank you also for the patience and the attention of the audience.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Uvaženi gledalci, u proteklih 30 minuta naš gost je bio ambasador Italije u Crnoj Gori, gospodin Vincenzo Del Monaco. Hvala što ste bili uz nas. Naravno, ostanite i uz ostatak programa Atlas televizije. Ja sam Alenka Vujović i želim vam prijatno večer.